here in Nigeria, voters are heading back to the polls on Saturday for governorship and local assembly ballots, weeks after the disputed presidential elections. Governors in 28 out of 36 states are facing voters. The other states have already held by elections. Representatives for state assemblies are also on the ballots. The polls were delayed by a week after Nigeria's Electoral Commission asked for more time to reset voting machines following the chaotic presidential contest last month. INEC's bimodal voter accreditation system, an electronic voting machine configured with fingerprints and facial recognition features, was at the center of the controversy that blighted the February the 25th presidential poll. Well, Arise's political editor and director of news, Sumner Sambo, has been monitoring developments, and he joins me now in the studio for more. Good to see you, Sumner. So take us through what's at stake in Saturday's governorship elections, and presumably what's at stake is different from one state to another.
Yes, Charles, it's a different kettle of fish this time around. The elections are closer to the people, lots of emotions, and the politicians are, capitalizing on some of the ethnic and religious issues around to just, score cheap political points. And there's going to be some sort of violence in this election.
You expect so?
Yes, yes. I mean, if you go to the frontline states of Rivers, you go to Delta, you go to Lagos, you go to Bauchi, you go to Kano and Kaduna. The security services know that they have a tough job ahead of them. Even the National Security Advisor, you would have heard him saying, that's General Babagana Monguno, saying that this time around, the security services have to up their game. And though there were no incidents of violence, being recorded during the presidential election, that's presumably because the presidential election and that of National Assembly elections, are a little bit far away from the people. Most times when these politicians win these elections, both the president and the National Assembly members, they come to Abuja. Most people don't see them any longer. But the governor, the state houses of assembly members are very close to the people. So, and the political parties that are contesting these elections will vary from region to region, state to state. And then, of course, we have the issues of, power balancing, balancing within the 3 senatorial districts of each state, with some wanting to go more than they've had, with some having never ever produced any governorship candidate. And then when they eventually do in a major party, there's a lot of tension for that party to deliver. So it's a sort of pseudo battle between minorities and majority ethnic groups, or minority religious and majority religious groups. So it's going to, the dynamics are much more different. And so we count on the Independent National Electoral Commission to ensure that the BVAS machines work, not just the accreditation this time around, but of course uploading of results. They've given us the assurance that that will be taken care of. But there's still a lot of pessimism here and there. What we need to see that be ramped up during the election day, Charles, is the issue of delivery of election materials, the logistics. Because some of the opposition political parties are saying that it looks like when it comes to the strongholds of the governing parties in each of the states, I mean, not just the governing party at the center, in some of the states, electoral materials arrive the areas where the governing parties, have their strongholds, while the minority areas, areas where you have opposition political parties, you don't see electoral materials getting there on time. And once the electoral materials don't get there at around 10, 11 to 12 noon, then it means like, the process itself is already being rigged against the powerless individuals, and the powerful people are taking advantage. So it may not necessarily be rigging by snatching a ballot box, but the delivery of election logistics itself.
Well, listening to you, I mean, it sounds terribly worrying, because on the one hand, you've got the Electoral Commission, much is at stake after the challenges of the presidential election in late February, and then you've got the security services. Do they, on both sides, come across to you as actually being ready for this election?
Well, they have no choice than to be ready, because they've been having their meetings. I mean, just Tuesday they had this meeting where the security chiefs and of course the INEC national chairman met, and then the political parties and INEC have been meeting, the CSOs and INEC have been meeting. Look, everyone is saying that the tension we took into the presidential election should not be taken into this election, because, I mean, the things that would actually make this nation go on fire are much more closer to us when it comes to the elections at this level. And I can tell you that there will be a lot of litigations after this election. Coincidentally, some of the political parties that are advancing the ideas of going to the courts to resolve their problems are the same political parties that did not settle the issues of internal democracies in their own parties. They couldn't conduct primary elections in their own parties very well. Now they are accusing INEC of having failed to conduct the elections, and then making it look like INEC has failed in all ramifications. INEC didn't really fail in all ramifications. They failed in some aspects of it, because even some of the political parties did not care to ensure that they embark on voter mobilization. A lot of people didn't know what the BVAS machines were all about. And the political parties didn't care to educate their supporters on what these machines were all about. So as we get into the elections, Charles, you see a lot of people and parties, candidates resorting to self-help, because even when there was a postponement by 1 week, the political parties were lame. The candidates were just talking to each other, accusing each other of one thing or the other, rather than going to the grassroots and educating people on how we can prevent a lot of invalid votes on election day. So it's a difficult situation that we've had here. Political parties that cannot conduct party primaries very well, lack of internal democracy within party primaries. The Supreme Court this week had to be giving judgments as to who is the rightful candidate of governorship elections just a few days to the elections. What does that tell us? That even the outcome that will be conducted by INEC will eventually end up in the courts. And it's not good. While it's good that it helps us to resolve the litigations in court, but nonetheless, for a democratic journey, it's not good when the courts are the final arbiter of our elections.
Sumner, thank you very much indeed. Sumner Sambo is Arise political editor and also director of news.